Hello, what is your name, grade, and what do you do?
I'm Caselli. I'm a senior, and I'm the director and president of the Film Production Club.
Why did you create Film Prod?
Um, that's a good question. Honestly, I feel like I was a sophomore. It was in sophomore year, and I was like, wow, we don't have a movie club. We don't have a club that makes movies. We have a club that watches movies during bonus block, and everybody naps in it. But we don't have a club that makes movies. So I was like, hey, we should start a club that makes movies. And then everybody was like, you're crazy. And then I was like, yeah, maybe. And then I did it, and now we're here.
Film production, in my term, is a club Caselli founded, but more than just the directors themselves, I feel like it's a lot about the community and the friendships that and the faces that you meet. It's not necessarily about the film that you put out and the audience reaction or how much money you make.
And then like all my friends were doing it, so I was like, okay, I'll join. And once I joined, I in the beginning wasn't doing as much, but then like as the process went on, I just got roped into it, and I felt like I was really like in the club, and I was like, okay, I guess I should do some stuff. So I did I started helping with like scheduling, because that's kind of like where I feel like I have like a lot of skill. I do a lot of scheduling in like the other clubs that I do. So I started scheduling our shoots, I started sending out our emails, and then that just kind of fit into the secretary role, so that's where like my official role is.
Our leadership roles and their titles don't really mean anything. At the end of the day, we're all really working together, with the seniors sort of like leading things as a group. But we definitely like put those labels on for more organizational purposes. Like Caselli is definitely the president, and she's definitely the one who is leading the whole group. And some people are more focused on other things, like Jackson's more focused on the money and the treasury, and Ellen's more focused on the logistics and some of the secretarial stuff for the club and for working with the school. And that's really helpful, but when it really comes down to it, we're all equally collaborating to make decisions. And even when we're bringing in the shadows and some of the younger kids, we're still hoping that they can participate just as much and have as much say in the decision-making process.
During this year, our project tells the story of two characters in their senior year who attempt to figure out how they could balance the real world and their transition into it with their friendship. So that was the main idea, this kind of moving forward and transitionary period that a lot of us in the club are going through right now. But the vessel that we told it through was the credit card fraud. So we need to figure out that main idea first before we could even conceptualize, like, okay, there's two friends, or they have a younger sibling, or they're committing credit card fraud. All those things have to come after that, those main ideas that could really be fit into any story you wanted.
When did we start making the script? It started pretty early in the year. I think it was October when we started. It started with just the outline, and then it became the full script as we kept meeting.
How often did you meet up?
We met up every Wednesday after school. It was until about 6, but the commitment it's pretty flexible, especially for writing, which really worked well for people who had a lot of different activities.
I would say that there was always a drive to get things done, but that other than that, they were not very serious. We have very little organization. There's not a super strict hierarchy. And we tried to create an environment where it felt like everyone could participate and not really worry about what others would think of their contributions. Because that kind of free flow, unstructured environment is one that we've found that the creative process really thrives in, as opposed to a very strict, like, this has to be done this way, or this has to get done that way. Like, obviously there are things that work better than others, and we've figured that out through years of doing this. But generally, universal rules don't really hold up well in the creative environment.
Table read was very interesting because we didn't know exactly how each character is going to be acted out. So as a result of that, we kind of just like threw things together. In fact, I was one of the main characters' mothers in one of the table reads. So what happened was in one of the scenes of the movie, one of the main characters is in their car on the phone talking to their mom, and this is like setting up for the climax. And during that, we didn't exactly have someone who wanted to be the mother in that table read. So Sally just shouted out my name, and Yeah.
Well, it gets people hyped for what the film is going to be, but also it gets people actually gives people knowledge on what it's going to be about, and it also like we provide behind the scenes things on Instagram, social media, and we also just get people to know about what's happening with our club and what we need or who we're looking for. Well, for the Instagram, I sometimes will put posts behind the scenes images, to get people like wondering, oh, this is where we're at in production. Or I'll post like, oh, we need actors, or we need editors, or just important dates for people to know. I also will be posting like coming soon, the trailer, anything like that.
So the first step is figuring out which materials, which parts of the script we feel like are the most representative of the characters, and what are the things that are most important for the actor to be able to hit. So range is very important, understanding the motivations and dynamics of the characters, but also how they interact with each other. So after selecting those, we had people act out the scenes that we assigned to them, and we recorded the whole thing. We evaluated them in the moment and after the moment to figure out what it is that we were looking for and what it is that they were doing well. After that point, it was a matter of determining what we were prioritizing, because I think many of the actors that we had for all of the roles that were auditioned for were very talented. They were merely talented in different facets of acting, if that makes any sense. Certain characters require certain skills in certain areas, so narrowing that down and making choices off of that was honestly the bulk of the work that goes into evaluating actors.
We basically are given our scripts, we look through them, but with film, nothing stays the same. So the script you're given on day one is not the script that you're going to end with on the last day. Things are constantly changing. So just being able to adapt to that change is really important for the film process.
I think it's all about realism. I think that when you're on a stage, it's all about becoming a character and leaving yourself off and just kind of putting yourself in that role. I think that film acting is similar in some ways, but it's much more about you. Because acting at its core is all about, you playing a different character, but I think film, it's like, there's more of a realistic tinge to it because it's all about, you do have to become the person you're playing, but you also have to add yourself into it, and it also has to feel like more natural. And that doesn't usually happen in theater because you're just kind of leaving yourself off, just becoming what the character is.
No, not at all. The director asks people to memorize their lines, so if you do that, it should just be one continuous run for each shot, but no one really memorizes their line. People always forget, and the director always has a vision for the shot, and it's never the same as how the actors envision it. So if you go through the scene perfectly and the director doesn't like one single thing about it, they will ask you to do it again and again and again until you get it right, which is not a bad thing inherently. I mean, we all want the best for the film, but it does get tedious, and saying the same lines over and over again is very tiring.
So we're in charge of like the costumes and the props, and if there's any hair and makeup that needs help with, like we sort of do that too.
What is it like being on Creativity Crew?
When Caselli needs a random prop because she forgot about it or didn't tell me, I have to pull up and bring it, or bring like 5 different options. Or when somebody doesn't have makeup and she wants somebody to look different, I have to do that. But it's fun, like it's nice.
One thing we definitely try and have before every shoot is a shot list, but that's definitely a place we fall short in. That's really on me as the director of photography and Caselli. We're supposed to make the shot list, but honestly, we just get busy with school. Like, that's the most challenging thing. Is you'd be surprised, most movies aren't made by people that are in high school, working on tests and study or whatever. So a lot of times we just don't get enough of the pre-production done. So a lot of the times we're shot listing as we go, which is very inefficient and definitely has led to some mistakes. So,
Do you think anyone could be in camera crew?
absolutely. I'm a little biased, obviously, because I sort of do most of the camera stuff for the movie, but I really think anybody could do it, but it does take some of the most independent time. Especially when we're on such a tight schedule, it's really difficult for me to bring somebody in and show them every single thing I'm doing, because it's taken me years to sort of know how to move around a set in the context of being behind the camera, and it's quite challenging. So what I say to people is take your own time and watch YouTube videos. There's some incredible resources online. I taught myself almost everything I know purely by looking up how to do something I wanted to do, trying it and messing it up. And then when you mess it up, you try it again, and when you mess it up, you try it again. So absolutely, anybody can be behind the camera. It's a mix. The editing process can be very individual. For example, we send out scenes and we let people sign up for them with a certain priority given to people who have edited before. Some of the more fun and complicated scenes are going to some of our legacy editors, but then we give you the footage and you just sort of go to town and you make the cut. But then it gets a little more creative and collaborative, where we have other people come in and look at your scene and see some of the decisions you made, and we'll talk about them, talk about maybe what differently, what was good, and then we'll have some other people come in and start to do sound work. I'll come in and I'll do the color grade for the scene, and then eventually we'll start to put it together into the major look. And this is all run by Noah Smith. Noah Smith is our head of post-production, and he's in charge of organizing that, making sure people are cutting the scenes and knowing what to do, and a lot of the other little intricacies, like how we're transitioning from scenes, which some people can't do. They might be editing scene 21 and then 32, because those are the two they signed up for. So how do we connect 22 to 23? So Noah's going in and conferencing with our editors and looking at what...
I would say from across film production as a whole, some of the shoots that we've done, especially last year with the Room Link Initiative, were very enjoyable, very fun. Working with teachers is very fun. Getting to hear them, I guess, act out how they perceive teachers to be perceived by students is very interesting, especially our more unserious characters like Mr. Fingerworth. I think that's my favorite part.
I've learned how to write better dialogue from when I started. I've learned how to edit better, how to shoot better, how to do everything better. And of course the bar is pretty low. I've sort of gone from, here to here, but that's still really satisfying to know I'm moving forward and learning new things. And I really hope other people are learning new things too. And I hope that this club is going to inspire more people to say, you know what, this is something that matters a lot to me, and maybe I'll consider doing this in the future.
Our premiere, that was definitely one of my favorite memories, because I feel like a lot of people didn't expect that much from us, and when we went into that center, it was the Montgomery Cultural Center. When we went in, I hadn't seen the complete film either, so that was my first time seeing the complete film, and it was just it was so cool.
How does it feel leaving film production behind?
Honestly, I'm kind of sad about it, but I'm also very excited because I want to see and I do have faith in you guys that you guys will come up with stuff after us. But I'm very excited to see where the club goes in the future.